Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Chelsea. You know that, I know that. I'm just a lady with a bulldog, a camera, and too many opinions. And if there's one thing that I have a lot of opinions on, it is the world of aesthetics, injectables, things like that. So today we're going to be talking about black market aesthetics. Our society's focus on physical perfection has transformed the faces of well-known actors, singers, and many influencers. Their paralyzed facial muscles, veneer capped teeth, and plumped lips are plastered all over social media, magazines, and can be featured on the small and big screen. But the rampant desire to achieve filter-worthy photos and videos comes at a very steep price. The procedures endured in an effort to appear flawless can cost hundreds, if not thousands, of dollars. Undergoing cosmetic procedures, plastic surgeries, injections such as wrinkle relaxers, which is Botox, or fillers, or getting veneers is not only expensive, but it does come with serious risks when it is not done correctly. Hi y'all, here on my channel, we are not familiar with people who are unhinged and their unhinged opinions. And you know, and I know, it's basically the equivalent to our trashy TV. It's really entertaining. But unfortunately, for some of us, we have people like that in our personal lives, and it can be pretty hard to deal with. Many of you are familiar with my crazy Uncle Reggie. Thanks to today's sponsor, Uncle Reggie has been a little bit less crazy. And that sponsor is Ground News. Ground News is my go-to news platform developed by female former NASA engineer Harleen Kaur to give readers an easy, data-driven way to keep up with the news. The app gathers related articles from thousands of sources around the world, allowing me to easily compare how different outlets cover the exact same story, and gives context on the source of each of those publications. For instance, speaking of the algorithm gods, a recent study discovered that Twitter, also known as X, their algorithm changed in July to boost right-wing accounts. Ground News found over 20 news outlets covering this story. 50% were left-leaning, while 33% were leaning right, and then obviously the difference being center-leaning. Below that, you can see the factuality breakdown, which of course is my absolute favorite aspect, as well as ownership, which obviously that's very important. 50% of reporting outlets are independently owned, like this headline from The Verge that reveals X's algorithm now loves two things: Republicans and Elon Musk. Y'all know we love independent journalism over here, and I of course do think it's important to consider the source, as I say a lot on my channel. And we should question everything and research everything. However, we don't need to put our tinfoil hat on just yet. Keep it in arm's reach, but we don't need to put it on yet. Instead, you can go to ground.news/cc or click the link in my description box. And if you sign up through that link, you will actually receive their limited time offer of 50% off of their Vantage plan, which is the one that I use. And that gives you unlimited access to all of their amazing features. So thank you again to Ground News for sponsoring this video and being a continued sponsor of my channel. Now back to the video. Now, I've always said that these types of procedures and tweaks here and there are definitely something that you do not want to cheap out on. Every time I see a Groupon or something like that for a breast augmentation, if you're paying Groupon prices for you're gonna receive Groupon. There's a reason why the person doing that procedure has to be on Groupon. Do you see Dr. Miami on Groupon? No, you don't. Like I said, it's definitely not something that you want to cheap out on. It's definitely something that you should be doing research on prior to doing it. But then also, it's important to know more about the person that you're going to and their credentials, and just overall educate yourself. Because if not only are these things going to potentially cost you hundreds to thousands of dollars, but then if they're done wrong, you could end up in the hospital. You could have ridiculous medical fees for that. And then also getting things corrected as well would be costing you extra money. So you possibly wanted to save money, but then because you cheaped out, you ended up spending more money. So we're going to start this deep dive by covering these fraudulent scammers who call themselves veneer techs. In case you're just listening and not watching, hey, for this video, I definitely suggest for you to watch instead of just listening. If you are someone who is queasy with needles and things like that, okay, fine. Just listen. That's okay. No worries. But this is something where it is important. I mean, we're talking about aesthetics. It is important for you to see these things. But like I said, just in case you're just listening and not watching, I did do air quotes around veneer techs. I hope you didn't miss that. Because here's the thing, a veneer tech, that's quite literally not a profession. That does not exist. That's not a thing. Veneers, which are a thin covering or shell, are made of porcelain or built up with composite resin. The first use of dental veneers was documented in 1926 and were used to temporarily improve an actor's smile while filming a movie. Since then, the quality and safety of veneers has vastly improved. They have also become more popular and are regularly used to transform the smiles of Hollywood actors and wealthy individuals. But that price of that dazzling, pretty smile, let's hope it's a pretty one and not, the turkey teeth, as people call them, or like the chiclets.
What are turkey teeth? Turkey teeth is a new phrase that came out pretty recently about people who travel to foreign countries to get cosmetic dentistry done for cheap. The problem is, if they're doing this to your teeth, they're not leaving you with a lot of tooth structure. And long term, what are you going to do when these veneers break and there's almost no tooth structure left? At some point, you might just be in dentures or implants.
In 2018, over 300,000 people traveled to have dental implants in Turkey for the ultimate in budget cosmetic dentistry. Fast forward to 2022, and despite the interruption of a worldwide pandemic and travel restrictions, the trend for dental tourism is still on the rise. But with the number of emergency dental treatments soaring as a result of botched cosmetic work abroad. In the UK alone, 63% of those considering dental treatments are between the ages of 18 to 34, which has led to the unearthing of some shocking facts about dental implants in Turkey. Many clinics have been inundated over the last couple of years with young people who have been misled by bargain cosmetic dental centers in Turkey, having been left with the harsh reality of a lifetime of dental work costing far beyond the cost of having veneers done in the UK or the US. More often than not, clients actually don't even know what work they've had done and what's involved to rectify the issue. Unfortunately, for every success, there are multiple horror stories to counteract that when it comes to dental tourism gone wrong. Majority of those cases can lead to the following issues: intense, long-lasting pain, overly sensitive teeth making it difficult to eat or drink, exposed nerves leading to further invasive treatments, ill-fitting veneers that can be too big or too small for the size of the mouth, infected gums that can spread to the sinuses or even to the bone if left untreated, rotting teeth, excessive swelling, poorly bonded veneers that can fall off easily. Private dentistry in the UK or the US can cost anywhere up to 70% more than it costs in Turkey. A survey done by the Irish Dental Association revealed that approximately 75% of those who had traveled abroad for dental procedures required corrective work back home. So it really does beg the question of how much are you actually saving in the end, and whether your oral health is worth that risk.
There are 3 reasons why you shouldn't get your teeth done abroad. 1. Aggressive treatments are often used, which involve filing down your teeth to little stumps, which leave them at risk of pain and their eventual removal in the future. 2. If anything goes wrong, it's often inconvenient to fly back to get them fixed again. 3. Treatments can sound cost-effective in the short term, but when they need fixing in the future, it can rack up thousands. Now, I've got no problems with people seeing dentists abroad, but make sure that you see someone reputable. If you've had your smile makeover completed abroad, let me know in the comments below how you got on with your treatment.
Have you considered going to Turkey to have your teeth done? Let me talk you through a case where things can go wrong. So this patient came to see me after having treatment done abroad. He wasn't happy with the appearance of his teeth. He struggled cleaning because every single tooth that was crowned were joined together. He had a lot of pain because he had recurrent infections and he was so not happy. So here you can see we removed all the crowns and the teeth are shaved down into small pegs. It's heartbreaking. We don't like to do this because the teeth can die, leading to infections, pain, and root canal treatments. There are other minimally invasive ways of improving your smiles without shaving teeth, such as Invisalign, whitening, and composite bonding. So here are the before and afters. As you can see, we've had to replace crowns with crowns because the teeth have already been shaved down, but this time the teeth have been separated, so you've got individual crowns. That means you can floss, you can clean better. So as you can see here, the gums are red, inflamed, and bleeding, and that's because the crowns are joined together. They can't pass a floss between the crowns. And in the after, you can see the gums have healed, there's no bleeding, and they're not red, they're pink, and that's how gums should look like, and that's because you can floss between the crowns. They're all individual, and there you have it. The before and after patient is a lot happier, pain-free, and a lot more confident smiling. So I urge you to think twice before going abroad to get your teeth done. Often what you see abroad is they will compromise the health of your teeth in order to produce results so fast, but the lasting effects are devastating. It's irreversible, and I'll urge you to think twice. Have you ever considered going abroad to get your teeth done? Has this opened your eyes on what could go wrong and the dark side of dental tourism? Let me know in the comments below.
Y'all know this is one of my veneers is one of my hyperfixations, and I'm fascinated by it. So I love that we're doing this video. I'm like geeking out over it. Per care credit, the national average cost for a single veneer, that's just one twofer, is $1,765. But the cost ranges between $500 and $2,895. Now, a full set made of 6 to 8 single veneers averages around $15,486 in the US. Also, veneers only last 10 to 15 years if they are properly cared for and done correctly and maintained. And they are rarely ever covered by dental insurance. Now, that is a lot of money for most people, especially since you're most likely going to have to replace your veneers more than once. So, I mean, that's over like $35,000 in your lifetime. Like, that's a lot of money. Now, there have always been workarounds to getting more expensive procedures done, like going to a dental school or like being a model or something like that. Like, for instance, when I worked at Ideal Image, I was in sales on the corporate side. The headquarters is here in Tampa, Florida. And whenever they were doing like an injector training week or whatever, because they would fly everyone in from all of the locations nationwide and have them come to Tampa, they would do like a 4-week training just to make sure they were going by like the standard of care with Ideal Image. And so they would literally have us go down there and like fill out like a time slot of like, I want lip filler, I want Botox, I want like laser hair removal done. And of course, it was free. But the good thing is that if it like was not done perfectly, then the instructor would fix it, which was nice. I had Botox done like twice, I think, while I was there. I was only there for like a year and a half. And then I had my lips done twice. And I had my cuter done with laser hair removal, but I only got to do 1 session of that, which didn't even do anything because you have to do more than 1 session. It takes like 10 sessions. But great example of that. Another example of this is when people go out of the country to get procedures done. A lot of people, like I mentioned before, who will go to Turkey to get like their hairline procedure done. And sometimes that looks great. And I'm not saying that there aren't credible providers in other countries, but I feel like sometimes it's very like copy and paste and not as specific to what you are needing. Very much so, in my opinion, profit over patient instead of patient over profit. For instance, whenever you see someone who has the turkey teeth, those veneers are typically never measured out and like mapped out perfectly for like the shape of their mouth and like their gums and like how that should actually look for them. That's why a lot of times when you see people with veneers, it looks like they're too big for their mouth. For instance, a great example of this was RIP, but the MLM boss babe herself, Jessie Lee Ward. It looked as if though hers were too big for her mouth, and maybe it was just that it took some getting used to, but she paid like $200,000 allegedly for those teeth. And it's like, girl, why are they so big? What are you doing? And not everyone can afford that. And some people still want that look. But again, are you willing to risk your safety to fulfill your vanity of being able to get that aesthetic that you want? Just wait till you can afford it or use care credit. I also don't suggest using care credit. That's what everyone does, I know, but I personally, I've never used that. That spooks me. I'm only going to pay for something with like, if I have specifically that much money in my account. But taking advantage of those people who want XYZ, yet can't pay for XYZ, and are maybe willing to give up some qualifications and quality in order to get that. And unfortunately, sometimes these people are more uneducated, because who in their right mind would be buying a voucher for a breast augmentation off of Groupon, right? That's insane. Or going to someone in a empty basement for veneers. Crazy, right? But this is where the scammers enter the chat. So scammers have decided to come up with their own solution to this costly procedure by creating a completely fake certification that you get from a course that goes perfectly along with the equally fake position that they have absolutely made up. And that is referred to as veneer technicians, or veneer techs for short. Veneer techs have hit the ground running on social media, specifically TikTok, and they will show shocking before and afters. And many of them, once they start doing it a lot, will then start offering a course to then teach other people how to do it. And hey, you might not know, but you have to go to med school to be able to do that. You are working with people's mouths and decay, potentially. This is very dangerous. But who cares when you're not having to pay upwards of $15,000 to $30,000 for a set of veneers, and you can just pay $2,000 or $3,000, right? What the veneer techs aren't telling you is that the certification course can be completed in 48 hours and does not require a doctoral degree in oral health or completion of an accredited dental hygienist degree. Also, what they're not telling you is that, as I'm sure you already know if you watch my channel, it's illegal. This is 100% illegal. And not only illegal, it's extremely dangerous.
These people do not go to jail for illegally practicing medicine. They are absolutely going to go to jail eventually for unaliving someone. Because I don't think people realize how dangerous tooth infections are. Your mouth is very close to both your brain and your heart. And if you have an infection in your mouth already and they're capping that, that's going to become an abscess. Or if they create an abscess and you start swallowing all that bacteria, it's going to go to your brain or your heart. And one of those infections will act very quickly and end your life. And if you're getting backdoor veneers, I'm sorry, you probably don't have a lot of money. And when those medical bills hit, because our medical healthcare system is terrible, you're also going to be SOL. But I don't think insurance is going to cover something you willfully did because you didn't do your research or are just dumb. On top of that, they are not cleaning their instruments properly. You need autoclaving, which they just don't have. And if they operate on someone who has HIV/AIDS and then they operate on you, guess what you're catching too?
Not only is it illegal, not only is it dangerous, but allowing unlicensed, unqualified, obviously, and quite frankly, criminal, even if they don't think it is, does not matter. It's criminal. Veneer techs use your mouth as a playground. Not to be dramatic, but it can quite literally delete you from the census. What do I mean when I say that? Death. That's what I mean. So unless you're ready to have lunch with Jesus, as I like to say, I would highly recommend avoiding getting any work done with veneer techs or anyone else that we're going to talk about in this video. And if you're not already convinced, here is a video with absolutely horrifying visuals that if I had to see them, you do too.
This is the craziest drama thing I've seen in dentistry so far. If you are on Veneer Tech Gate TikTok, you'll know what I mean. Currently in the US, there are people going around and labeling themselves as veneer techs. So essentially just regular Joes are going to these like two to 3 day courses from other veneer techs and learning how to give people full composite veneers without any experience or without any qualification. The courses are similar vibes to like as if you were to go and get lashes, like a lash course. They get like veneer kits as well with everything that you need to be able to do veneers at home. Like what the and so these veneer techs who have trained 2 to 3 days in this course are then going home, opening up their garages and selling veneers to people off the street. Like honestly, it's mind-blowing that they can do this. The whole appeal, I think, for these veneer techs is like $5,000 a week. You make $10,000 a week doing veneers at home. The problem is with this, I mean, do I even need to go into why this is so bad? But is that nobody should be doing any kind of procedure in your mouth apart from a dentist. These self-titled veneer techs are taking people's rotted teeth and they're putting composite veneers over top of the teeth. So while they may look better, underneath that tooth is still rotting. And the problem is when they get veneers, they usually get veneers in the top, the first front teeth, right? Those teeth specifically are connected directly to your brain. So if they continue to rot, imagine what it's going to do to your brain. You risk yourself so many health risks, potentially even not being here anymore, if you know what I mean. Like, it's crazy. And the thing is that while people might think that they're saving money by going to these veneer techs, you're going to have your teeth rot and eventually you're going to have to get them all pulled out because you're just covering the problem. It's not actually treating the root cause of the issue. Whilst it may be cheaper now, a year, 2 years down the track, you are going to be going into the dentist for a much, much, much larger bill. So please, just do not do this, guys. If you ever see this, please just stay away from anyone that's a veneer tech. Only go to a dentist. This is why it's really important for us for when our patients book in to get clear aligners that we make sure that the 6-monthly checkup before starting their journey with us. We need to make sure that your teeth are as healthy as possible in order to move them without creating any future problems. And during your treatment as well, even if you are doing at-home treatment, our technology and our orthodontists are consistently checking to make sure your teeth are always healthy and always in the best position to be able to be moved. Please comment below if you have heard of the veneer tech drama and what you think about it.
Like we said before, you might be saving thousands of dollars up front by using a veneer tech or, someone who's completely unqualified and unlicensed. but you're potentially causing so much more damage by having it done wrong on the front end and then having to spend so much money on the back end getting it fixed or dealing with any other complications that arise from their work. Now, unfortunately, not everyone will do their due diligence and do their own research when it comes to either getting work done by a veneer tech or becoming a certified veneer tech.
That's a real quick no. That's a hard pass. Absolutely not uninterested in that option.
When are we going to learn that if someone is trying to get you to do the same exact thing that they do, it is a scam? I make so much money doing this. You can too. Buy this. No, girl. If they made so much money selling things on Amazon, having their Etsy shop, being a criminal, a veneer tech, selling digital products. Where are the digital products you sell? Where are they? Oh, it's the course that you're selling me that now I'm also going to sell? That doesn't make any sense. Obviously it doesn't. But if they made so much money doing XYZ, why wouldn't they just do that thing? Why would they be spending so much more time and effort marketing this unattainable dream and this course? Because that's actually how they make their money. And you fell for it. And it's sad, obviously. And hey, you got and you got manipulated, but we all learn, we all grow, we could do better, right? So if you've been scammed by something, I know it can be embarrassing. Try not to be embarrassed, but tell your friends, tell your family, make sure they don't get scammed too, okay? Law enforcement and regulatory entities are finally catching up with these dangerous veneer techs. The Office of A-List Smiles Atlanta, owned and run by CEO and veneer technician trainer Brandon Dillard, was recently raided by the Atlanta police. Not only has he been practicing illegal dentistry, per the Express Tribune, he faces 8 charges, including felony practicing dentistry without a license and violating the Georgia Racketeer Influenced and Corruption Organizations RICO Act. It's unknown at this time how many victims Dillard has illegally practiced on or trained to become veneer technicians. And here is his Instagram page with more than 157,000 followers. It actually has been taken down. Trained and licensed dentists are spreading the news about Dillard's arrest, but point out that there are many more veneer technicians that are practicing illegal dentistry and that they will continue to break the law and cause damage to people's dental health. And now let's listen to what Dr. Jennifer Bell has to say about it.
I do a lot of jokes about the veneer techs. Maybe they're an easy target. I don't know. Maybe I'm just jealous that they get so many patients who want to pay them just a couple grand for some new nice teeth. And their cost of dental education was significantly less. Maybe it's all jealousy. But one did finally get arrested this week in Atlanta. And you know, the darndest thing about this that I don't think I ever really put together was that his office looked like a dental office. It had dental equipment. He had all the advertising for veneer services, for cosmetic services. I checked out his Instagram. It doesn't say the word dentist, but everything about the page would make you think that he is a dentist. He offered education to teach you how to do your own veneers. And then he was doing veneers in his Atlanta-based office. He was arrested this week for practicing without a license. Maybe this is a warning shot to the other veneer techs, though I was reading another story where someone just got arrested for the second time in 6 months for going back and practicing dentistry illegally. So it seems to be an up and coming marketplace in the U.S. economy. So probably more to come on that particular topic.
Now, unfortunately, this is not the only activity being performed by unlicensed medical professionals. In fact, this reminds me of the case of O'Neill Ron Morris, who posed as a doctor offering cheap silicone injections to women who wanted a fuller figure. Instead, O'Neill injected women's buttocks with cement, mineral oil, and flat tire sealant. That's right. Per the Cleveland Clinic, fillers, which add, quote, volume and smooth skin, as well as Botox, which, quote, reduces wrinkles by relaxing muscles, have become a prime target for scammers who are likely unlicensed, untrained, and possibly using counterfeit drugs that could put your life in danger, like cement. Cement in your butt cheeks. That gives rock hard a whole new meaning. As you can imagine, this not only unethical but highly illegal procedure led many women around the Miami area getting sick and having to seek medical treatment. In fact, per CBS News Miami, one of the procedures led to the death of a 31-year-old woman who died while serving time in a Tallahassee prison. O'Neal Ron Morris was in turn charged with manslaughter and injecting several women with dangerous concoctions and sentenced to 10 years in prison, along with 5 years of probation. Family and friends are not happy with Morris's sentence, as reported by WPLG Local 10. Unfortunately, there are many more very dangerous scammers out there injecting individuals with not only counterfeit fillers and counterfeit products in general, but also not doing it correctly at all. And that is so dangerous. Rebecca Fendinelli of Massachusetts has been posing as a licensed nurse and injecting thousands of clients at her spa with illegally imported drugs. Turns out she's not a nurse, she's an esthetician, and is not legally allowed to inject anyone with Botox or other fillers. Thank goodness she has since been charged. Like I said, not only can the use of counterfeit products and fillers and anything like that be very dangerous, putting that in your body, but then also it being done incorrectly can be extremely dangerous too. And if you are unlicensed and untrained, a 48-hour course, that does not train you. And of course, that can lead to absolutely disastrous outcomes. Now, before I show you these pictures and these shocking clips of patients who had botched injectables, it is important to note that mistakes can happen. Reactions can happen. Even when receiving brand name product, Botox, Juvederm, Sculptra, whatever, like straight from the source. They get it directly from the manufacturer, from the provider. You're getting it done by a plastic surgeon, right? Those instances do happen. However, the chances of those types of things happening when you are seeing a licensed, well-trained, and someone who keeps up on their training and someone who is going to put patient over profit, those risks are much lower. So prepare your eyes, and if you want to skip this little segment, just, put your phone down or like walk away from TV. It's okay. It's all right. It's not like it's not horrifying. I think you'll be okay. I think you'll be fine. Listen, if you've been watching my videos since I had filler migration in my lips, you'll be fine. Now here is Rachel. Rachel went to a Botox party, and you can absolutely have a Botox party and have a licensed, trained medical professional come to you. That is fine. However, sometimes when people do these things, it's not that way. But Rachel almost lost her top lip after getting botched Botox. Now here is Rachel before, and here is Rachel after.
It's a terrifying image, grotesquely swollen lips, and it happened at a Botox party. 29-year-old Rachel Napier first had Botox injected into her forehead. Then she had filler injected into her lips. Problem is, Rachel says the woman administering the procedures didn't have the proper training. 3 hours later, her lips blew up 3 times bigger than normal. So, what went wrong? We asked New York cosmetic surgeon Dr. Norman Rove.
That injection might have injured this artery. So now she had no blood supply to the lip. It can lead to swelling and excruciating pain, both of which she had.
Botox parties have become more and more popular over the years, giving women a place to get together with friends and have cosmetic procedures at the same time. But there is supposed to be a licensed doctor on hand, as there is at this party. As for Rachel, she rushed to the emergency room near her home in England, and doctors dissolved the filler in her lips. Here's what she looks like now, almost back to normal. While what happened to her is shocking, it also serves as a warning.
Botox and fillers are medications, and they should be injected by a medical professional.
And now here's another story about Marcelle King. Per laserderm.co.uk, she wanted to knock a few years off of her face, so she thought Botox injections were the perfect way of achieving that. She mentioned that she had found an advert on Facebook with a mobile number on it. Marcelle ended up ringing them up right there and decided to book an appointment. After arriving at the address, which was a private home, she was injected with a thick-looking needle that resembled a dog vaccination needle and described the whole procedure as excruciatingly painful. She paid $300 for the first batch, and after not seeing any results in 2 days, she booked another appointment for 2 weeks after that for $100. This time she mentioned it felt like the end of cigarette butts being burnt out on my face, and it started to swell and became very, very red. Miss King ended up in the hospital, coming, quote, very close to death. Unfortunately, after the whole ordeal, she now has permanent muscle damage to her face, and the person who did this to her was charged with grievously bodily harm and got 2 years in prison. Know the red flags, You're most likely not going to see like random ads on Facebook. I mean, yes, if it's like an actual med spa or something like that, sure. You're not going to be going to someone's house. It's literally not how that works. That's not a sterile environment. That's not okay. Botox, I mean, I have a pretty high pain tolerance, but it feels like a pinch. It's not going to burn like that typically. One thing that does burn is getting your lip filler dissolved. That hurts. You get through it. You know it's not going to last forever. You just tell yourself that, squeeze something and you're good. And then we have Whitney, who is something.witty, which is adorable, on TikTok. And she shows a great example of botched Botox. And then we have Jillian on TikTok as well. I don't know how to pronounce her last name. I'm not even going to try, but she does a 6-month update video of her botched Botox. Which one thing that is interesting to me, I don't know why like down here would be affected. I mean, obviously like that's where they did things, but like I feel like you shouldn't do that because you're only supposed to. Obviously, yes, you can get like a lip flip. I understand that. A lip flip is not for like, drives me crazy when people think like, oh, I don't want lip filler, I just want a lip flip. You're not a candidate for that. If your injector says that you are, and you don't have a gummy smile, then no. That's like if you smile and your entire upper lip, like I can't even do it, but if it disappears, then sure, maybe. But a lip flip makes you do Botox right here and then it makes it so that your lip like doesn't go up. So if you have a gummy smile, it's because your lip's going up too high, right? So it would make it stay instead of going all the way up, right? Okay. So anyways, also, it can be for, you know, if your lip like completely disappears when you're smiling too. But I personally would never get a wrinkle relaxer because hello, it like makes it so that you can't move certain things from here down. That is crazy to me. I was about to say to each their own, but no, that's wild to me. It's also not FDA approved, FDA cleared for it to be done in those other areas. It's only crow's feet, glabella, and your fine lines. So let's go ahead and watch what Jillian's experience has been.
Hey, you guys. So next week is exactly 6 months since I had botched Botox in LA. I will never stray from Dr. Claire again. The person injecting me hit my DLI really badly, and I really didn't start to notice it getting any better until month 4 or 5, as you can see in this 4-month update I did. Now, here's 6 months. Ready? Teeth, smile, pretty much back to normal. Thank God.
And then to take it to the next level of crazy, we have Christian Perez Latour, or Latore, however you want to pronounce that. They were arrested for injuring a patient during a medical procedure while pretending to be a cosmetic surgeon. Per LA County prosecutors, he was illegally performing cosmetic surgery without a license, resulting in great bodily injury. And the Los Angeles Times says that Latore faces 1 count of assault with a deadly weapon and another of battery with serious injury. He is also charged with 6 counts of practicing medicine without a certification. If convicted on those charges, he could serve up to 10 years in state prison. Now, Latore isn't the only person who is just cosplaying as a medical doctor and performing cosmetic procedures, which is crazy, obviously. According to CBS News, in 2023, 63-year-old Elias Renteria Segoviano pled guilty to 13 felony counts of unauthorized practice of medicine, 1 count of false indication of medical license, and 1 count of perjury. He also pled guilty to 4 misdemeanors related to impersonating a doctor. Prosecutors claimed that he marketed himself as a doctor on Facebook, TikTok, and other social media platforms. He performed medical procedures with 28 victims. He admitted to performing invasive procedures, invasive meaning cutting open. Baby, that's surgery. That is insane. And then also he admitted to injecting, they're not patients, they're victims. Victims with counterfeit products, fillers, Botox, Juvederm, stuff like that, but like counterfeit versions of it. And also the counterfeit doesn't stop there. It's anesthetics and then also other drugs as well, medical drugs, but still. Now you might be thinking like, oh, well, like what's in it? The thing is that you literally probably don't know what's in it when you're getting something from I don't want to call it like a black market website, but that's literally what it is, or like an off-brand website. However, a great example of this is when there are counterfeits like makeup products being sold. Like I remember when Kylie lip kits were just the best thing that dropped in the world since indoor plumbing. They were sold out everywhere. And I remember I had been like, oh my God, I really want to get one. Like, oh, I didn't make it in time, blah, blah. Guess where my husband got it from? Amazon. And I was like, Tony, I need to know where you got this from because like if it's not from an actual retailer, like an approved one, like an authorized retailer, I can't use it. Guess what, girlfriend? It was not. It was from Amazon and pretty sure it had glue in it. So thank God I didn't use it. But yeah, super sketchy. So after serving only 1 year and 4 months, which is crazy, he was arrested again for allegedly trying to sublet a chair or a space or whatever at a salon, like a salon lofts type place where you like rent your own space. And there were claims that he was doing Botox injections and face thread procedures. The face threading, it's so terrifying. It needs to stop. Y'all, guys, I don't want you to end up looking like the tiger lady, okay? And I'm not talking about Carol Baskin. I'm talking about that one lady who's like, I've never had any plastic surgery, or I've never had anything done. And then it just looks like she got stung by bees, by all of the bees in the world, or like she's having an allergic reaction to life in general. Now, like I said, there's a whole nother like subcategory of this, of the off-market, off-brand, black market, counterfeit products, so to speak. So the actual fillers, injectables, medical drugs, things like that. And there's a huge market for that for people who are looking for a cheaper alternative to whatever they are using or selling. For instance, the latest craze this year, which is actually illegal, very, very much so against FTC guidelines, is companies using the Wegovy and GLP-1 and Ozempic craze to market their products that do not do the same thing and are not that at all. For instance, Lemmy, Kourtney Kardashian's brand, says that they have a GLP-1 gummy. It doesn't do that. Like that's not what that is. You wouldn't be able to just buy that. So many people would be dead. That's not what that is. Or a lot of MLM products and multi-level marketing reps are like, oh yeah, it's my Ozempic supplement. And it's like, again, not a thing.
Black market knockoffs and smuggled products have been quick to follow. CBP showed us a small sample of what they've seized over 2 days.
They're coming in from all over the world. Over here, this says it was manufactured in Bangladesh. And then this box of Wegovy, actually came packaged as a children's Mickey Mouse puzzle.
These products look like the real deal, but CBP Port Director Salvatore Ingracia says they can be anything but.
We have tested these pharmaceutical products and found things like antifreeze, too much of the active ingredient, too little of the active ingredient, and other fillers that in some cases are dangerous.
Novo Nordisk reports it found insulin in a counterfeit pen, landing the person who used it in the hospital. The FDA's Office of Investigations is taking the threat seriously. Last May, they arrested a Long Island woman for selling suspected fake Ozempic on social media. One victim reported lesions and infections. The suspect pled not guilty. A month later, Cincinnati Border Protection agents seized nearly $900,000 of suspected counterfeit pens, prompting the FDA to issue warnings to multiple websites to stop selling the drugs or face legal action.
If you're buying a drug that is legitimately marketed for thousands of dollars for $65, you should be asking some questions.
Former FDA investigator Ricky Chase has made a career out of asking questions to track fake products. Using a real Wegovy pen, she shows us what you should look for.
You're always going to be looking for a code like this. This is how the pharmacy and the drug company tracks this product through the legitimate drug supply chains. And you want to look at the label here. If you rub your hand over the labeling and the ink smears, that is a good indication that it is not a legitimate product.
Chase says don't risk your health while trying to get healthy. The ultimate line of defense is your own judgment.
So obviously that clip we just watched is terrifying. Much like the fake dentists and veneer techs and a well-dressed man cosplaying as a cosmetic surgeon, websites selling weight loss drugs that aren't actually the real thing are created to bamboozle you. They're made to look trendy, professional, whatever, to try to trick potential customers. Fortune reports that there are 4 steps that people should follow in order to avoid dangerous counterfeit weight loss drugs. First, only purchase these drugs from a state-licensed pharmacy. Second, do your research before purchasing any medications online. Resources such as the FDA's BSafeRx website is a good resource of credible information to educate yourself before clicking the buy button. And third, check all packaging and labels. If you find any misspellings or poor print quality, you may be dealing with a counterfeit product. Fourth, avoid compounding pharmacies. Per Dr. Supriya Rayo of the Integrative Gastroenterology Consultants in Boston, compounding pharmacies can really be a slippery slope, she says. Depending on who is sourcing the medication, who knows what you're getting from one day to the next. Injecting a drug from an unknown source is very risky. Now, not only getting counterfeit products, going to someone who's going to botch something, even if they may seem legit. There are also people just like the veneer techs who are really just multiplying at this point. There are the lip injection techs or hyaluron pen techs. And that is so scary and infuriating. And there's actually a few people that I've looked into that other people have done videos on as well, like the lip filler. I laugh because it's a crazy instance, but the lip filler bandit who was creating courses and courses and courses, and then she rebranded and she got called out a bunch. That's why she had to rebrand, but then she just came back in full swing. Fun fact, Isabella Lanter actually made a video about her, and then she sent Isabella a cease and desist. That was the most hilariously written thing I've ever read in my life. And she got someone to write it off of Fiverr. It was crazy. And then also she was covered on the Do We Know Them podcast as well. But again, these people are saying that they don't have to be a medical professional or a licensed whatever or have a medical degree because they aren't using needles. But the hyaluron pen is so dangerous, and that is something that I've seen where it's not precise. It typically ends up being really bumpy, and there are so many people all over the internet being like, this is how I do my lip injections at home. It's insane and so spooky and so scary.
Watch me do a nighttime filler session. Clean lips with alcohol, then numbing spray. Tastes weird. After numbing cream. To ensure complete comfort, clean your lips really good after. Let's start. When you are ready to release, make sure you make a pocket and put enough pressure between the lips and the pen. This will ensure all the filler goes into the lips. I'm focused on the lower lip fur.
So this is called a hyaluron pen, and it is extremely dangerous. It power injects the filler deep into the tissue with total disregard for vasculature or placing the filler where it belongs. You want to have an experienced injector using a needle, placing the filler in a safe manner to give a smooth, beautiful result.
Hi guys, I want to show you a picture of my patient post hyaluronic pen. This is why it could be so dangerous. It could cause vascular compromise. You can see she's very bruised and swollen. Here I am checking tissue perfusion with capillary refill to see if she has any vascular compromise. We went ahead and dissolved with Hylenex to go ahead and break up that hyaluronic acid filler so her body can reabsorb it. The next picture is about an hour post hyaluronic acid injections, and you can see she's already got better tissue perfusion.
Now, I do just want to make it clear, obviously, different countries, different states do have varying requirements regarding who can perform cosmetic procedures such as injectables. However, you should not be getting anything injected into your body by someone who is not a medical professional. Now, every state and country, but let's just focus on the US right now, every state does have a medical review board, and they do have different specifications and requirements per each state regarding what qualifications and certifications and degrees or level of degree that you need to be able to legally perform these types of cosmetic procedures, to do Botox, to do injectables, to do any type of filler. And these hyaluron pen techs, these lip filler techs, whatever they want to call themselves, will say that they are lip filler certified, lip tech certified, 5 times hyaluron pen certified. And the thing is that none of these courses are accredited. I can guarantee you, none of these courses are accredited. For a course like this to be accredited, that would have to be approved by that state's medical review board. Do you think that the medical review board for whatever state that person is in would be approving a course in which the person who's teaching it is not a medical professional and does not meet those specifications and requirements? Absolutely not. So whenever you see in someone's Instagram, social media, TikTok bio, wherever it is, that they are blank times certified, 10 times certified, 4 times certified, that means nothing. And in my unsolicited. Obviously, it is solicited because you're coming here. But in my opinion, I think that they put blank time certified, 5 times certified, whatever. And that is how many times they have taken a course. Now, obviously, yes. And you will hear my injector talk about this later on when I interview her in this video. But there is a lot of continued education involved in these types of fields, just like there is with YouTube, just like there is with most industries. However, the people who are hosting these trainings, the people who are conducting these trainings, these seminars to teach you new techniques or to teach you how to be more familiar with a new product, a new filler, a new technique that is out there, these people are medical professionals and typically experts in their field. For instance, my injector Rachel, is a very credible trainer in her industry, and it even says so in her Instagram bio. Like I said before, any doctors, nurse practitioners, people with that level of education obviously are going to put it in their Instagram bio, in their LinkedIn, in their TikTok bio, because they are marketing their business. They want you to know how credible they are and how qualified they are to do the service that they are selling. Always ask before you get anything like this done to see someone's qualifications. If they say that they took a course and didn't actually go to medical school, then I personally would not go to them. That is dangerous and not worth it. But also look through their social media. If you see anywhere on there that they are selling a course on how you can learn how to do what they do, and it looks like it's done in a strip mall that they've rented by the hour or in a basement or in a conference room of a Howard Johnson down the street, or that they give you a certificate that they have printed out that shows 0 accreditation, and they've given you boxes to, quote, start your business, and it has Band-Aids in it. Now, one of the TikTok videos that I am either about to show in a minute or have already shown at this point in the video by Contoured by Kristen, she actually explains really well how these types of hyaluron pen technicians or scammers, if you will, they can't confirm or even tell you with 100% certainty that the filler that they are injecting into you is 100% name brand. It's 100% from the manufacturer. And that is running into risky and scary territory when you are getting these medical supplies, these fillers off of Amazon. Listen, don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with buying, certain office supplies, medical supplies, refills, things like that off of Amazon. Hey, I got an Amazon business account. It's okay, girl. I get it. And a lot of businesses do that, but not when it comes to fillers and injectables and things that need to be FDA approved / FDA cleared. Medical providers, injectors, people who work for actual med spas or have their own business, they are licensed, they are insured, and they do have those connections and these specific accounts with these manufacturers like Allergan, who is the manufacturer for name brands like Botox. And also Allergan is the manufacturer of products like Juvederm as well. And then, not that you even need to know this, but Galderma is the manufacturer for Restylane. These fillers that these people are using, the hyaluronic acid that they're using, which is what is in the pen, that product is not medical grade. They don't have a medical license. How would they get it? They're not an industry professional. How would they get medical grade products? And it is important to note that the hyaluronic acid that is in the hyaluron pens is not an FDA approved material. And that means that that product is entirely unregulated. That's one of the huge objections that I see in these comment sections, and people saying, oh, well, it's not FDA approved, it's not FDA cleared. And they'll come back saying something like, oh, but cigarettes are FDA approved. The FDA is responsible for protecting public health by regulating human drugs and biological products, animal drugs, medical devices, tobacco products, food, including animal food, cosmetics, and electronic products that emit radiation. But not all those products undergo pre-market approval. That is a review of safety, quality, and effectiveness reasonableness by FDA experts and agency approval before a product can be sold to its consumers. In some cases, the FDA's enforcement efforts focus on products after they are already for sale. Even when FDA approval is not required before a product is sold, the agency has legal regulatory authority to act when safety issues arise. And then if we scroll down here, we can see the FDA doesn't approve tobacco products. There's no such thing as a safe tobacco product. So the FDA's safe and effective standard for evaluating medical products does not apply to tobacco products. Instead, the FDA regulates tobacco products based on a public health standard that considers the product's risks to the population, including users and non-users of tobacco products. To legally sell or distribute new tobacco products in the US, manufacturers must receive authorization from the FDA. So a marketing authorization does not indicate that tobacco products are approved. It means that the manufacturer has complied with the requirements under law to bring its product to market. So essentially, not every single thing that the FDA has quote unquote approved or cleared doesn't mean it's necessarily 100% safe for you. However, what it does mean is that there are requirements under law and that it is regulated. These products are not regulated. Of course, I think that these people need to be held accountable because they are putting someone at risk. However, I do also think that there needs to be some consumer accountability and some consumer responsibility here. However, there is a huge amount of misinformation and, frankly, people who are uneducated regarding these types of products and services.
This is my client after injections of hyaluron pen that you can buy online and inject yourself. Please don't do that. You see the complications? Read below.
Okay, so my patient gave herself a vascular occlusion with a hyaluron pen. So let's talk about it. So this monstrosity is a hyaluronic pen. So it's a device that shoots some kind of filler into the lips. We're not exactly sure what kind of concoction lies in that syringe, but it's not FDA approved and it's definitely not legal. So the filler is then delivered into the lips via pressure. So it's often marketed as the needleless and painless lip filler, which makes it very appealing. So the filler just kind of lands where it lands. We don't know the depth. We don't know the plane it's in. There's no precision, no accuracy. It just kind of goes where the people that offer these treatments, they're not medical providers. They don't have access to Hylenex, which is a medication that will resolve an occlusion. They don't have knowledge of anatomy. They don't know how to manage complications when they occur. And I say when because they will occur. The face is very vascular. We have the inferior labial artery that runs through the bottom lip. So a filler occludes a blood vessel, cuts off blood supply because the arteries supply oxygen to our tissues, which can then result in tissue necrosis, aka tissue death. She had sent me these pictures 4 days after she had injected herself and asked me if it was a vascular occlusion or a cold sore. And I told her we needed to meet up at the clinic immediately. I needed to dissolve her, get her some antibiotics. She had no clue that these were illegal. She said it seemed super legit. She was doing Zoom trainings. She purchased it online, which is so scary that you're able to do that. I was actually on an Instagram account of a girl based in Little Rock that uses hyaluronic pen fillers out of her home, which is so scary. And she makes a point to say in all of her pictures and captions that you do not have to be a nurse or physician to offer these treatments. That is a blatant lie. That is not true. They're actually illegal in Arkansas, like I said. And the people that offer these treatments, they don't care about you. They don't care about your health. They don't care about patient safety, because if they did, they wouldn't be offering these treatments in the first place. This is what her lips look like now. I think this was 2 to 3 days after we dissolved, so you can see that they're healing nicely. And 2 days before I received these pictures, one of my patients, a different patient, sent pictures of her friend that got lip filler, 2 syringes of lip filler for $250 at a nail salon in Hot Springs. So just a PSA for whoever needs to hear it. Do not go to a nail salon. Do not get a hyaluron pen, a filler. Just save up your money and go to a licensed medical provider that knows what they're doing.
So recently on my podcast, the Here for the Clout podcast that I have with my fellow feral mommy, Sherilyn Dale, we had been discussing this TikToker who's known as the inmate hopper. Yes, self-proclaimed inmate hopper. Her name's Ash Trevino, and she's pretty viral on TikTok and has been for a while. However, I wanted to include this TikTok as well because she allegedly got Hyaluron Pen lip filler done. Let's go ahead and take a look at that.
Ashley Trevino's lip filler saga is the exact reason why you need to avoid hyaluronic pens at all costs. The pens work by using an extreme amount of pressurized air in order to add plump. However, as you can see by this photo of Ashley Trevino, results are often lumpy and uneven, as one is not able to control how much of the injection is delivered. Medical experts even warn that it could cause blindness. Moral of the story, not everything is DIY.
I personally am a psycho when it comes to this, and I will not let anyone else inject me other than 2 people, and that is Injector Rachel at Elase Med Spas, and then also Injector Morgan at Elase Med Spa. And I love Elase Med Spa. I am an ambassador with them. They are awesome. I love them. They're great. And they actually allowed me to do an interview for this specific video, as if they could say no, while Injector Rachel was injecting my butt cheeks with Sculptra. Now, just a little bit of education. Sculptra is a filler that lasts longer than other fillers, and I'm putting it in very simple terms, but it basically makes your body create more of its own collagen. So it takes longer to see the results, but you are having those results for longer. It is, I swear it's magic. I love it. I love it so much. It's not magic, obviously, it's Sculptra. But I do not want to get a BBL. For one, the mortality rate is insane. It is super crazy. And there have even been very credible surgeons who have had people perish after giving them a BBL. Wild. So that's really spooky. I also don't want to deal with the downtime because it would be like 6 to 8 weeks that I wouldn't be able to sit down or lay on my butt or sit, or like I sit for a living. And I have a kid. I have a job. I have 2 jobs where I sit and talk to a camera into a microphone. I don't have the time to take off like that. And I also am terrified of that. And also I wouldn't be a good candidate for it because I don't have the ideal amount of fat for a Brazilian butt lift. They do a fat transfer from other parts of your body to put in your booty. So if I was just going to do for my tummy, yeah, I have a little bit there, but it's not enough to give me what I want. And it's mostly, I just have like a little bit more of loose, not like a lot of loose skin, but like a little bit squishy right there because I had a baby. My arms are fine. I don't need to get lipo out of my arms right now. So yeah, there's not a good candidate for that specifically too. The mortality rate's terrifying, and it's just safer to get a Sculptra BBL, if you will. Now, I've been talking about this a lot on my Instagram. I've been mentioning it in my YouTube channel as well, in multiple videos and like hinting at it. I do have my second session coming up. They just emailed me to schedule it, but I got my first one back in the end of May, I think it was, or beginning of June. And in September and October is really when I saw like a little bit more of results. It usually does take like at least 2 sessions, and I was sore. I had to massage my butt a lot afterwards, but like that paired with the no downtime and it being much safer and way faster, I'll take that any day. So let's go ahead and pass it over to me getting my butt injected and interviewing Injector Rachel from Elase Med Spas. I've been with her for years. She's amazing. She is someone who, in another video that I did about getting my lip filler dissolved, that she definitely puts patient over profit and is all about education. And that's why I'm so happy she's with Elase now as well, because Elase just opened a bunch of places here in my area and they are awesome. They are funny. They understand social media. They understand like the educational aspect of how important that is. So I love them. Feel free to check them out. I'll have their Instagrams and all that linked down below, the website, and also Rachel's, and then also Morgan's as well. So let's go ahead and pass it over to, like I said, butt cheeks. When it comes to the world of black market aesthetics, we've seen basement BBLs, the veneer techs, it's atrocious. And then also we've seen people who have no medical training at all. A lot of times it is lash tech who are then giving people lip injections with the Hyaluron pen.
Crushes me when I see that.
I have sent my injector multiple posts on Instagram about the Hyaluron pen.
I really appreciate that because now it's my algorithm.
And her response is, oh my God, I'm scared, or I can't look at that.
The whole idea around the Hyaluron pens is a scary concept because the way that it's injected is it's through pressure, and there's no specific way that it's injected. And I think something that people forget is that there's really important anatomy, and to the lay person or somebody who's not trained medically, you wouldn't really know that. So when you're putting this device that is injecting a gel, that gel can get inadvertently put into a blood vessel, and that would be catastrophic. It can cause tissue death. I have had patients call the office where they said they had purchased a hyaluron pen online somewhere and they injected it into their forehead. They noticed that their forehead was turning white and discolored and didn't know what to do. And unfortunately, the emergency room can't really do anything for you because they don't have anything to dissolve it. And so you just have these people who are like thinking that it's a safe thing that they can do at home, and they're just injecting themselves. And it's really awful.
And sometimes can happen to where the product that they're getting is also black market. And so then whatever product is used isn't able to be dissolved with what professionals actually use to dissolve actual filler.
There's been some talk about black market toxins, black market Botox, things like that. And it just means that it's not being monitored or tested for its safety. So it's coming from somewhere that's not the manufacturer. We don't know where it's coming from. Usually it's out of the country or something like that. But the problem is because it's not being tested for its safety, there's no way of actually knowing what's in it. There was that med spa, where was it, in Mexico, where there were unlicensed women performing microneedling with PRP injections, and they weren't labeling the blood properly, and there was 3 cases of HIV transmitted there.
As we call them, basement BBLs, people who are literally putting tire filler into people's butts, or cement. Of course, do we think that they know that that's what it is? No, but that's what happens when you get your products from unregulated sources. I've always said, do not go the cheap route. It's I can go to a Lace and get quality products and service from actual trained professionals, or I can go onto Groupon and get Groupon injections. No, girlfriend, I've always said that if you pay for Groupon titties, you're gonna have Groupon titties. Okay? That's what we call pity titties, when you lay down and then they fall into your armpit. But that's what can happen when you try to go the cheap route. And if there are things that are constantly discounted, if a surgeon or provider or whoever is offering Groupons, there's a reason why. That you do not do that. I know it can be enticing to try to get a good deal or save some money, but if you cheap out on things, then you get what you pay for.
I can almost guarantee you wind up spending more money correcting it or reversing things than you would have in the first place if you just went somewhere reputable. I get it. As a provider, I understand, these are obviously elective procedures, right? So no one has to do these things. So people do price shop. And I totally understand that, because I understand, I wish it wasn't so expensive for people either. I wish things were accessible, but at the same rate, I don't think that the general public also understands how expensive products are and how expensive our training is. It takes a lot for med spas and offices to be up and running. The overhead is pretty massive. Products are super, super expensive. So by the time that there's any profit made, it's usually somewhat slim.
I personally would never get injectables or anything like that done from someone who is not a medical professional. For instance, you were in school forever, and I know you're probably still in school, let's be honest. And this one, you can't get her away from it. And so I think that's really important as well. And you can't learn those types of things during a weekend course, during a 2-day course. That's what a lot of these people are selling now, is a 2-day course to learn how to do injectables.
PAs, NPs, we do go through a lot of schooling. There's a lot of education, but there's not a formal aesthetic education. I think that there might be some, clinical internships that people can do, but a lot of it's done on the job and through trainings. And some of these trainings cost $5,000, $6,000, $7,000. But for me, for example, here comes the best part. For me, I did not start my career in aesthetics. I started my career in medicine. I worked at New York Presbyterian doing medicine, cardiac cath, intensive care. So I think it's really important for people who work in this business to have some scope of medicine. You need to know important things, because it is all related. It's not just as simple as, oh, I'm going to just inject you with some filler. There's There's things that are important. There's emergent things that you need to understand. There's also patients who shouldn't be getting them. And how would you know unless you really understood that? That's my take.
So if you are considering getting something done, anything done, please do your research. Please make sure that you are educated on not only the procedure, like what you're wanting to buy, the average cost of it, and also the specific person you're going to as well. Talk to other people that they have done. It is a HIPAA violation, obviously, but if on their social media they've like tagged people, or if you go in like the comments and like their, patients are in there, you can talk to them. Please do so. Talk to past patients. They should have a like list of people who are okay like with talking about it with them. A lot of places do that, and that way you'd be able to actually hear real reviews. If they're selling a course, done. No, I hate it. Disgusting. Now, if it's a continuative education course, that's different. Or like a class, that's different. Continuative education is so extremely important. And a lot of places do that, and a lot of injectors do that too. However, if they're teaching you how to do exactly what they do, that's not okay. Okay? So please be safe. Please understand that you are beautiful. And hey, listen, I get it. I love injectables. I love aesthetics. I love all that. I personally will not get veneers until I'm probably in my 40s or 50s, because like my teeth are fine now, but also I have like 4 fake teeth. I have 4 crowns. So eventually, sure, I might do that, but not right now because I don't need it. Like for medical reasons, sure. If your teeth are actually all up, sure. But just for aesthetics, that's like, don't do that, girlfriend. Obviously, it's your body, do whatever you want, but if you're gonna do it the right way, please. And when I mean right way, I mean don't cheap out on it. Do your research. Go to someone who puts patient over profit. And also make sure that you're in the right mental headspace too. Like, don't get something done if you're like, oh, this is going to fix my whole life. No, you're still probably going to be messed up mentally afterwards, all right? Also, hey, if you can't afford it, don't get it done. Okay? Please, ladies, don't do that to your credit. I want you to stay feral, stay assertive, and stay spicy. And remember that your feelings are valid. You are valuable. That if you are subscribed, your butt looks so good. Girl, it looks like you just did 14 rounds of sculpture. That would be crazy. But it does look real plump, and I love it. No back alley basement BBLs over here, baby, okay? So please subscribe, like, and comment, all that, and I will see you in my next video. Goodbye.